Tonight, Minneapolis stands at the epicenter of a fierce national debate, where large-scale federal immigration enforcement has intersected with tragedy, public outrage, and calls for change. 2 U.S. citizens, a mother of 3 and a dedicated ICU nurse, were fatally shot by federal agents in separate incidents this month, fueling protests, lawsuits from state and local officials, and scrutiny of tactics used in Operation Metro Surge. Operation Metro Surge, launched by the Department of Homeland Security in December 2025 and expanded in January 2026, deployed thousands of ICE and Customs and Border Protection agents, around 3,000 in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, to apprehend and remove undocumented immigrants with a stated focus on those posing public safety or national security threats. DHS has highlighted arrests of individuals convicted of serious crimes, including murderers, rapists, gang members, sexual predators, domestic abusers, and violent assailants. The operation has drawn widespread criticism, including a federal lawsuit from Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, Minneapolis, and St. Paul, alleging unconstitutional raids and stops. On January 7, 2026, 37-year-old Renee Nicole Macklin Good, a U.S. citizen and mother of 3, was fatally shot by an ICE agent identified as Jonathan Ross. Multiple bystander videos captured the encounter on a snowy street in South Minneapolis. Reports indicate Good had just dropped off her young son at school when her vehicle became involved in a confrontation with agents. Official accounts from DHS described her as attempting to weaponize her vehicle against an officer, leading to the shooting through the windshield. Video analysis by outlets like The New York Times has examined contested moments, including agent positioning and escalation. Good's family and advocates have mourned her as a poet, writer, and loving partner, emphasizing community support values. 17 days later, on January the 24th, 2026, 37-year-old Alex Jeffrey Priddy, a U.S. citizen and intensive care unit nurse at the Minneapolis VA Medical Center, was shot and killed by Customs and Border Protection agents. Eyewitness videos show a confrontation during protests against federal enforcement actions. Forensic audio analysis indicates at least 10 shots fired in under 5 seconds. DHS initially described Priddy as arriving to inflict damage and kill law enforcement, while family, colleagues, and nursing organizations remembered him as a kind-hearted caregiver dedicated to veterans. Unearthed footage later showed Priddy in a prior scuffle with agents on January 13th, though no direct connection to the fatal incident has been established in reports. These deaths have sparked nationwide protests, calls for independent investigations from some Republican lawmakers, and bipartisan scrutiny of use-of-force policies and agent training. In response, President Trump dispatched White House border czar Tom Homan to oversee operations on the ground. On January 29th, Homan held his first press conference in Minneapolis, announcing that ICE and CBP are developing a drawdown plan for federal agents. He stated clearly, "I'm staying till the problem's gone." Homan emphasized that any reduction would depend on common-sense cooperation from state and local officials, specifically honoring ICE detainers in county jails to allow more targeted operations inside facilities rather than broader street enforcement. He explained, "My main focus now is drawdown. Based on great cooperation I have had with your state and local leaders, more agents in the jail means less agents in the street." Homan described progress in discussions with leaders like Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. He acknowledged the operation has not been perfect, saying, "We are not surrendering our mission at all. We are just doing it smarter." Certain improvements could and should be made and committed to addressing unprofessional conduct or missteps. The shift aims for safer, more efficient, by-the-book, targeted enforcement. In Washington, the developments have been politically charged. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, whose department oversees ICE and CBP, faced bipartisan questions on leadership and strategy. During President Trump's cabinet meeting on January 29th, the first of 2026, Noem was present but not called upon to speak, a notable omission in a session where other secretaries provided updates. Reports noted the president made no mention of Minneapolis unrest or took press questions. The timing of Homan's announced changes, following the shootings, widespread protests, video evidence challenging official narratives, and mounting pressure, has prompted questions about whether this represents a planned operational refinement or a reaction to public and political backlash. Officials have maintained no direct causation between enforcement, tactics, and the violence, framing adjustments as improvements for efficiency and safety. This Minneapolis story reflects broader national tensions. Federal authority clashing with state and local governments over immigration enforcement, with lawsuits, potential de-escalation talks, and debates over who bears responsibility for consequences. Meanwhile, a separate incident raises concerns about security in the federal justice system. Luigi Mangione, accused of stalking and murdering UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson, is detained at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center pending state and federal trials that could seek the death penalty. On Wednesday, January 28th, around 6:50 to 7 p.m., prosecutors say 36-year-old Mark Anderson of Minnesota arrived at the jail's intake area, claiming to be an FBI agent with judge-signed paperwork authorizing Mangione's release. When guards requested credentials, Anderson allegedly produced only a Minnesota driver's license, threw documents, claimed to be armed, and was detained. A search revealed a barbecue fork and pizza cutter in his bag, a firearm in his vehicle. Anderson faces federal charges of impersonating a federal officer. Authorities state no evidence indicates he knew Mangione personally or had accomplices, and motive remains unclear. The criminal complaint notes quick verification by staff prevented escalation. Mangione is scheduled for court tomorrow, where decisions on pursuing the death penalty may advance. From Minneapolis streets to Brooklyn courtrooms, these events illustrate how immigration policy, enforcement actions, and justice system security intersect amid crisis. Policies shift under pressure, with human costs and public trust at stake. As investigations continue and operations evolve, the questions, who defines the threats and how accountability is ensured, remain central to this unfolding story.